Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 11th, 2020. And Wednesday mornings, I give a little talk. In November, a really little one. And since last Wednesday, of course, we have learned that the Biden Harris ticket has won the election for 2020 and that the era of the Trump presidency is over. It's ending. And our meditation practice teaches us about the nature of endings, of different chapters. And this week, I am inviting everyone in Nowhere Village to reflect on cycles, seasons, changes in general, the shifting nature of our phenomenal world. And in particular, I'm asking people to share a little bit about what they have learned in the last 4 years, what has changed for them, what transformations have occurred since November of 2016. And I find that for myself, these kinds of reflections often reveal some sort of interesting patterns for myself. And as we meditate and we breathe and we learn, okay, everything that has a beginning has an end. And can we make peace with that? And everything that ends yields some kind of new beginning. And can we make peace with that? But this other aspect, right? So that's our seated meditation practice or our just breath practice. But another aspect of what we do here and what I do in my spiritual practice is doing ceremony, having moments when throughout the year, I honor the new moons and the full moons. I do an even bigger ceremony in honoring for a solstice or an equinox. And all that I'm really doing is something that our ancestors have been doing a very long time, which is just to acknowledge the cycles and rhythms of nature and to acknowledge that we are a part of that. And so another thing that you might do this week as you reflect is find some little ceremony for yourself, find some little way of honoring the work that you've done over these last 4 years, of honoring what has been lost. And if we need to, maybe mourning that or celebrating it, some things we want to lose, and honoring what's been gained. And as always, if you want some assistance with that or help, or you have questions or curious about how you might do that, please reach out. I can speak about it more if people are curious. Saturday, I was in Asheville, North Carolina, and we danced in the streets. And that celebration, right, that feeling of relief and doing it with other people felt really important. They weren't people I knew. I was just there for the weekend, and but I felt so close with everyone that I was there with, and people were crying and laughing and acknowledging each other in this really deep way, and acknowledging how for many, many of us, these last 4 years have been really hard and really stressful. To give someone power and authority over us, someone who we don't trust, someone who doesn't really align with our values, our core values, that creates a lot of fear and a lot of tension for good reason that many, many people have been carrying around. And so marking that in that way felt really important and powerful for me. When I reflect back on these last 4 years, I remember the moment I woke up after the November 2016 election. I was in total denial that Trump could win. I assumed we were good to go. And I woke up and was shocked. And I just started sobbing. I couldn't process it. And I had just moved upstate and was very excited for a new beginning with my partner I'd been with for many years, 6 years or so. We were finally moving out of the city, getting our place out in the country, starting a new life. I was dreaming about the kids I was going to raise there and the retreats I was eventually going to lead there. And I was more excited than, I'd ever really been about a transition. That was just a couple months before that election. And it's impossible to say. Everything leads to everything. It's impossible to say, but I really believe I might still be with that person. I still might be married if not for the election of Trump. And here's why. The election of Trump for president of the United States was a wake up for me. It was a huge wake up. I have lived in pretty liberal bubbles my entire life, and I didn't understand that there was, well, I mean, I'm calling it kind of a shadow side, that was so deep in this country. And I think that I knew about it in these like light ways, but my way of being political was a very light touch. And I didn't really, if I look at it now, I didn't think that what I did and said, and I didn't think it mattered that much or was that important. And the Trump presidency in a way kind of radicalized me, or what it really did was made me see my values way more clearly, to see that those are threatened every day. And I just doubled down on my commitment to those values. I started to write a lot more about how spirituality and politics actually go together. I started to just contemplate and think about this stuff all the time. I did get politically involved, but I think more than anything, it was the way that what changed the most was an urgency to my values and a real clarity, like taking the wool off of my eyes and getting very clear about what the threats were, what the threats are to our planet, what the threats are to freedom for people and respect for all beings here. As I did that, as I got more and more involved and active and passionate, I watched my partner not become that way. I have learned since then he also has a personality type that is actually very similar. He suffers from narcissism, and my ex, as does Trump. And also having this very clear example of what that looks like on the national stage helped me understand what was going on in my house. And really difficult, right? Wake-up calls are not easy often. But then we had the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter movement, and so much action around environmentalism, right? These things that I care so much about. And again, was watching as I became more and more passionate, as my values became more and more what I was living for. The person I was with wasn't with me on that. And the decision, I never ever thought I was going to leave that person, ever. But over the last 4 years, I've learned that there are more important things than then my comforts, and then even, even love, right? Even like love between two people. There's like a bigger love that was driving my life that includes so many more people that was more important. And even my vision that I was really passionate about on this property, and having a family, having kids was something, you've known me my whole life. I've been saying that that was like top priority. And in the end, I decided it was all, I could let go of all of it. I could accept letting go of almost anything, because living out of alignment with my values was just not okay. It wasn't okay. And the urgency of this thing, and I got this one lifetime, and there's all this crazy shit happening in it, and I have to show up. And so my personal comforts aren't, just can't woo me away from my mission. And it's been really maybe the hardest 4 years. Yeah, hardest 4 years of my life for sure, personally, but also everything else that's going on. And guys, I'm really glad it's over. I'm really glad it's over. And I know there's so much more work ahead, but we survived this, and we all learned and grew, and we all deserve to and will move forward, from a place of a different kind of empowerment and a different kind of awareness now that we've seen all that we've seen. So I would love to hear from you about what this experience has been like, and what you've learned. In a moment here, I'm going to stop my video and turn toward the folks that are here live. But everybody who's watching, and even those who are here live, I would love for you to make a little post in Know Our Village and just tell us about your experience. You can make a little video and post it, or write something up, or take a photo. Um, and I look forward to hearing from all of you.